Excellent, folks. All right, we're top of the hour here. All right, well, good morning. Let's kind of face it here. We all need to do more with less, with less resources and with less time. Today we'll show you how programmers can actually increase productivity with a few of our products. So welcome to today's webinar, Top Tips to Increase Programmers' Productivity. Regarding today's event, this event is being recorded, so if you or someone else would like to watch it, please share the link that you will receive in our follow-up email. Also, if you happen to have any questions, please send those questions using the WebEx chat to all panelists. That way Mike and I both can see them, and then we'll address those at the end of the presentation. During today's presentation, Mike and I will go through and discuss and show you how 3 different products can actually increase programmers' productivity. You'll learn some of our top tips throughout today's presentation, how Abstract can make it easier to make changes to your programs and files with confidence of not missing a change that is needed across your environment. And then we have Anydate, how it can actually allow your users to work within their correct time zones, allowing timestamps to be accurately calculated and collected or displayed. And then with EasyView, how programmers and developers will be able to make safe, reliable updates to the files quickly. So welcome. My name is Heath Kath. I will be your host for today's webinar. I am a technical solutions consultant with Help Systems, working with the SQL software out of the U.S. office located in Eden Prairie, Minnesota. I have been working on the IBM I now for actually over 22 years, 11 of those years right here with Help Systems. Today, I do have another SQL expert, Mike, who will be helping us out. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing real good, Heath. Thank you. Yeah, Mike Stegman, Senior Data Access Consultant here with SQL, working out of the Schaumburg, Illinois office outside Chicago. I've been working with the IBM systems, dating myself here back to the System 36 and the AS400 since it came out many years ago, and I've been with SQL for over 11 years. And I want to thank everyone for joining us today.
Excellent. All right, folks. Well, let's take a look on how Abstract helps you eliminate busy work and streamline your development process. So let's kind of take a look at the big picture here of Abstract. It really doesn't matter whether you're about to start a large software development project or a small one, or you're simply trying to better understand your existing development environment. You need control. Control that includes knowledge of your objects, your programs, and files. What programs calls another program? What files does a program use, and are they used anywhere else? Well, these are just some of the questions you must address, and that's where Abstract can help out there. And if you have this, knowledge at the beginning of the project, you will save time, effort, and money. Your developers will not have to recheck or recompile objects because something was missed. You need this knowledge from a high level to the last detail object. A good tool lets you jump in at any level you need to see. Plus, when you make the change or make any changes out there, you must be able to preview the effects of those changes and track where you are in the process and where you need to go. You need to be able to analyze your objects from both the top down to determine program dependencies, and then from the bottom up to see which other objects are being called or used, and so forth. So you need to discover discover how Abstract can prevent programming issues. But if issues do happen to exist, how Abstract can quickly locate and help you fix those problems. You should have IBM software that allows you to easily analyze the objects from programs, files, source files, of which really gives you the ability to understand their relationship. If a change is made to a file that's used in a program, you need to add that change to the relationship in those cross-reference files so everyone can see that change. Without that level of control, you lose time, you lose resources. And that's really actually going back from my past experience when I used to work at IBM several years ago. I actually worked on a 6-week project just trying to build the relationship between the programs, files, and other objects. We actually had to build that relationship because of an upcoming project. We're going to restructure everything out there, so we had to find out what will be impacted. Well, with a tool like this, it would have saved me a lot of time, or saved us a lot of time. Your development tool, such as Abstract, should help you out in a lot of different ways. programmers to reduce the amount of time needed for editing, compiling, and debugging programs. Analysts to enjoy a complete system overview to help them integrate new applications or allow enhancements quickly. Software designers to document and manage current program structures and propose modifications to your application. Managers and auditors, they will be able to work with full-scale details of how an application works. They can actually see their relationships. The right tool lets you document the flow of the programs. You need to be able to document the process so your entire staff, can actually use it later. Later, after changes are made, other developers can find out where things currently stand and, what additional changes need to be made. It's really that simple. Once Abstract is installed and has documented the application in your environment, you'll notice that it does make the job of becoming acquainted with unfamiliar systems and all that data out there all that much easier. So a good tool, it will reduce the time you need to find and to fix application problems. Using the documentation about job stream flows, field usage, and object relationships, you will be able to actually trace exactly what has happened and where. So with a complete cross-reference to a project or environment, it will give you the confidence, to make those necessary program changes. And using a flow chart or visual flow chart, you'll have a great way to actually see that information. So, why use Abstract? Well, with its cross-referencing capabilities, Abstract provides a centralized information source for all of your IBM software. It stores and it tracks the relationship among the various objects in your applications in a cross-reference database, which then gives you the high-level view of your data flows. Coupled with this cross-reference information here is a set of development tools that automate many of the manual development tasks that are associated with maintaining and development software applications. So what you'll find is that Abstract is a programming tool that IBM programmers and analysts just cannot do without. And with Abstract, we actually provide several different interfaces, allowing you to work how and where you want to work from. We got the green screen. We have the using the System-wide Navigator, RDI, and now even RDP. With our latest version of Abstract, our IBM programming toolset, it brings all these powerful features through some nice, easy-to-use plugins right to your IBM Rational Development for Power System software environment. Your programmers, now will be able to find the object information quick and easily. They will be able to build the relationship between their objects to help clarify and to see really their database structure. At the same time, all this information is documented and can be referenced at any time. So whether your preference is to use the green screen, iNavigator, or RDP, a good tool will let you choose. Next here, Mike will be showing us a live demonstration how Abstract can actually simplify and help you maintain your programs and file objects.
Excellent. Thanks, Heath.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's take a look at Abstract. All right, there's a couple of things. Let's go into the Abstract menu here. Excellent. This is the Abstract menu. The key to managing your objects is building the cross-reference. Now, the cross-reference data could be all of the objects on your system, or it could be broken down by operational area or functional area, specialized projects even, where each data set is for a certain project. The power is in the centralization of this cross-reference information. This allows programmers and developers to access that current information when changes are needed. So again, here is the green screen menu. The main options to get into other menus are up here at the top. All right, these are other options underneath those menus, so it's not as scary as it might look. But programmers don't scare easily. in the cross-reference menu, the initialization, the actual command that you need to load the information into the cross-reference is load xref. I personally like using the second option here, work with libraries into the cross-reference, and that's because I could have prompted that option. I just didn't there, but I'm looking at a data set that I've already created called demo. Okay, and it's showing us what's in there. So these are the libraries that are out there. So one screen, quick shot, shows me what's in here. Now, these are the libraries. I can see that this SQLEX library has a date. That's a little bit different format. It's highlighted. Why is that? Well, there were some errors loading that. So there's a nice option number 5 that I can enter next to that and get a quick high level of what was wrong out there. Maybe the source was missing, or a library wasn't found, or something along those lines, which is pretty normal. I mean, that happens every once in a while. You want to make sure that you get these loaded. Now, what else is I like about this particular screen is, let's say I want to see from APL sample which files got loaded. So I can put an asterisk in the file position, and it's going to show me all of the files that are loaded into the cross-reference from there. If I choose to see with the programmer, I can put an asterisk under the program area, and I can see what programs have been loaded out there. So this is a nice screen to kind of look at what you're looking at. Now, you do get, if you do have an error with this, you still get a job log when you do the load, and again, you can also do the load right from here. So there's several different ways you can get it out to get the information into the cross-reference, and that's kind of the key, is to actually making that happen. So that was some of the stuff under the initialization menu. So now I'm going to go into option number 2, menu option number 2, the object relationship. This is the top down again. And from here, I'm going to go into object references number 1. I'm going to prompt it this time, and hitting F10 for additional parameters. I want to make sure that I'm looking at everything, all the different pieces, file references, field references, etc. And I'm looking at my data set of demo. Okay, let's go ahead and press enter. And what we're looking at here is everything within there. And you can see the parent-child relationships are shown in an indented fashion over here on the left, and then we can also see what they are and how they're used over here on the right. Okay, so you can do a lot of different things right from this screen. You don't have to keep going out and back in. You could, but why would you? Let's say that you wanted to change a file. So I can come down here to a particular file like custom.as, and I can use the option that's in the option up here, number 2, to edit it. Okay, now I'm into the DDS. I can make my changes, right? And as I'm exiting, I would, of course, save it if I did make any changes. I'm not going to because I didn't make any changes. And then if I, again, made changes, what do you need to do next? Well, you need to compile. So what do you use? Option 14, right? And since I'm putting option 14 next to a file, what's going to come up if I prompt it? The recreate database relations command in a submitted job format. And again, I can prompt on that to get to all any other parameters that I might need to tweak. So you have the ability to move yourself around and to do a lot in here. Okay. Now going in, I made all the selections. I wanted to see everything. Well, let's say that I don't want to see everything. I say I want to see just program-to-program relationships. So rather than getting out and going back in, we have another way you can do it right from here. There's an option called subset. So I'm going to press Command 17. Now I just want to see program-to-program relationships. So I'm going to change some of my settings here, eliminating some of these options. Now when I press enter, now I'm looking at just the program-to-program relationships. And if I press Command 17 again, I can change it all back, like so. Okay, so you can change it all right from here. Okay, now let's say I wanted, instead of the top-down look, let's say I want to look at the bottom-up approach. Well, I could go out and go into a different menu option, or I can just use one of the options that's available to me on the screen in my options file. This would be option number 9, where used. Okay, so let's go down to a program I can use here, custom change C. That's a good one. I can put a 9 next to that, press enter, and now I'm seeing where this particular program is being used. So you can do both. You can do everything you need to do right from one place. A nice simple approach to looking at your object where used and object relationships, the top down and the bottom up. Now for file relationships, I'm going to go into menu option number 4. and choose option number 1 for files. Again, pressing the prompt. I'm going to choose customast out of APL sample. Right, pressing enter. Now I'm looking at the file. What can I do here? Well, 12 working with, and I get to see the file format detail, all the fields and their attributes from that particular file. All right. Another nice option from here is option command 22. I can press that, and it's going to show me all of the logicals and access paths associated with this file. So again, I can look at all of that information about the file right from this spot. Okay. Now again, I mentioned early on not to be frightened from all these different options. These are options that are underneath these other menus. So the ones that start with number 1 are all up under menu option number 1. Number 2 are all up under menu option number 2. We just put the most common ones out here. As you get more comfortable with the product, you can actually go into them by commands directly rather than going through the menus. But this is just several different options that you have out here. So far we've looked at briefly the initialization, object where used, relationship, and file analysis. So what's next? Well, exception reports. What's in here? Well, this helps you keep your cross-reference neat and clean. All right, everybody's heard the term garbage in, garbage out. So if your cross-reference isn't showing you some information or it's showing you some odd information, you might want to take a look at what's in there, see if there's any errors, what's happening out there, so you can come in here and help keep your cross-reference clean by running some exception reports and looking at things in the cross-reference that way. And then the productivity tools. Productivity tools is a way where you can do a lot of different things. I showed you some other ways you can get into some of those commands from other places, which is true, but you can also get into them directly from here. Recreate physical file in batch, recreate database relations, for example. Most common one that I think is out here on this particular screen that I haven't talked about yet is, there's 2 of them. There's string scanning. This is a great way for you to look at message files or source files to look for a particular piece of information, if you're looking for a particular file or code or reference, particular message. And then, of course, the flow chart. You can actually generate a spool file from here that actually will print a spool file for your whatever it is that you're asking for. You prompt on this, and you can choose the different pieces. So the flow charting is really cool. And that's pretty much the green screen interface to abstract. So what I want to show next is the iNavigator, the first graphical tool. Okay, Heath mentioned that there's different interfaces. It's real easy to use it comes with abstract, so when you install it, all you have to do is install a plugin. Down at the bottom, you go through the install plugin, normal process for the Navigator. And what happens is then you'll get a node installed out on your Navigator for abstract. Okay, so if I expand that out, I can see that there's the 3 libraries that I looked at. How do I know I'm looking at the right thing? If I go to the properties under abstract, I can see that I'm looking at that data set demo. So I'm looking at the right place, so I like what I'm doing there. Okay, what else can I look at? Well, if I expand out APL sample, I can click on file, for example, and it's going to show me all of the files that are out here. All right, so I can pick one like customer master, and I can go into something in there. There's the object reference, object where used. I can load it or remove it from the cross-reference. All that information all can be done right from here. Okay, if I look at programs, I can look at all the different programs that are loaded into the cross-reference from the APL sample library. All right, and if I pick one of these like customer list, let's go into flowchart. It's going to flowchart that particular program. There it is. So we get a nice little flowchart, which I can save or print if I choose. Okay, I can also go into edit, and all of the displays also give you an option to do a new subset. So I can actually click on that, and just like in the Command 17 on the green screen, I can actually choose the different pieces that I want to look at, program to program, program to file, or everything. Okay, if you happen to choose object relationship, I'll go back up here to the APL sample library at the top and choose object references. Okay, again, this is going to show me everything in the APL sample library, but it's the object references. We have the parent-child relationships, again, shown in indented format. We have the type and how they're used in various columns. I can do a flow chart from here. I can print or save. I can also do that subset change all right from here. So you have a nice graphical interface to abstract, all from your navigator. And the other part that I can show you here today is the RDP. Okay, I have RDP loaded out here, and those of you who are familiar with RDP, it's the Rational Developers for Power System from IBM. It allows you to do your programming and all that right from a green screen in a rational way here. Well, what happens when you go through the iNavigator install and you go through the installation from the RDP is you end up with this nice little abstract tree view. And what do you get there? Well, if I refresh that and go into the system, it's going to ask me to sign on here. It's a secure system. Hopefully I typed that right. Hey, look at that, success. And what do I see? Well, same things I saw before. I can go into the object references for the whole APL sample library. I can do the flow chart. I can do the subset, all of that information that I showed you from the iNavigator is all now here, except everything is all right in one place. I can do my programming here. I can look at the flow chart. You can look at all the different pieces right here with your GUI plugins. And that's the end of the demonstration for abstract.
Excellent. Next. All right. Nice job there. Well, next, Mike and I will show you, how Anydate allows user jobs or applications to travel in time. You'll actually have the ability to adjust the time based on time zones. If you happen to have a user or a coworker that works out, let's say, in the West Coast versus the East Coast office, when they log into the same system, they can actually see the correct time for them. With Anydate, your jobs and applications can run using a past or future date to be able to rerun a job from yesterday's date and have the ability to stop the clock to run jobs with a fixed date and time, all without impacting any other users or jobs on the system. So how would Anydate help you, or your system administrator, or maybe another programmer? Well, picture this here, running a scheduled backup job that normally runs after midnight to reflect a previous day, or maybe to rerun a job for the previous day, or rerun a job that failed and terminated, so you have to rerun that backup or other process for a previous date. Run forecasting programs, with a future date. To be able to test applications running with a future or past date to really, see will they run successfully or not. If you have users log into the same system across time zones, when they log in, they see the correct time or date for them. We have many customers today using Anydate, and we've actually collected a few of the comments from them. Anydate allows the users to test and run in any environment, really the testing capabilities. There is no need to create any applications around it. You just install and you're ready to go. The software is good to go right out of the box. Anydate is very simple to use. You just call the program. You can actually run in a job or run it interactively. We can actually make a change to the date and time within a job without affecting the entire system. Next here, Mike will be showing us a little closer look how Anydate will allow users to override the system date by the job.
Yeah, this demonstration of Anydate is going to be brief, and that's because the product is so simple to use. Think of it as easy as turning a light switch on and off. Okay, why would you want to use the product? We'll have some information in here as well. Maybe you want to offset the date and time by moving the time forward or backwards X number of days, months, or years like Heath was talking about. Why? Well, let's say you want to run a test. Okay, Okay, Anydate started its life, if you will, as a Y2K testing tool, and it just had so many other capabilities and great uses that it kind of just it stayed out there, and it's loved by everybody who uses it. Maybe you want to test something as far as the calendars, with the 28 versus 29 days of February or leap years and things like that. So you have several different options. Offset's used a lot of times, supporting many different partitions. I keep saying people signing on from different time zones. There's really only a couple of different commands that you really have to be concerned with, and I don't think I added the library, so I'm going to do a quick add library list of the library. It's called oversysdate. All right, and I don't like typing all the time, so I'm just going to enter the command. There's a couple of different commands. Oversysdate is the name of the command to put in the override. There's one called delete date override, okay, to remove it, or you can also just end your job. You can sign off, another way to do it. So there's a couple of different things you can do. So first thing I want to do is, all right, hang on here a second. Stuck. There we go. I want to look at there's a SQL command out here that I like to run to display the current date and time. Okay, just a simple little SQL display, and showing us today's date and the current time. We're in Central Time, so it's using the Central Time. All right, it's a nice, easy little command there. Not bad to see. We also have something we ship with the product called All Tests. There's a program we have, just a little test called All Tests. Enter that, and what it's going to show us is some of the APIs and some of the values that are out there for the system. So we can see timestamp 2014-04-17 with the time of 10:27 out here. We have, again, just different formats of the date and the time, that type of thing. So we're looking at all the information, just showing the current date and time. Okay, there's Q date, there's month, year, day, century, day of the week, the whole bit. Right, so it's a nice, simple little test, just kind of grabbing everything into one place. So let's go ahead and do the override to actually change some of the values. I'm going to prompt this. That's the command, oversysdate. I prompt it, and what we see here are the parameters that you choose on how you need to override it. Okay, you can be a static value, year, month, day, or time. Now, by static, I mean a set value. You can actually tell it, go to the year X. I'll do that in just a second. Go to the month, go to the day, that kind of a thing. You also have a date and a time offset for the time zone tests. So if you're going to test like a month end or a year end, you can use the top, telling it to go to the end. If you're just having someone accessing from a time zone, you can go here. And then you have some other options as well down here. Is there do you want the time or the day to advance from this point forward, or you want it to be static? Those are your two options. Do you want the override messages to come up? Do you want override the job date as well? And submitted jobs, so you can control those and how you want to do it. Well, let's go ahead and actually change some things. All right, let's go ahead and change the time. All right, I'm going to change it an hour ahead. You all saw it was 10 something, right? Now notice the format is just same as it is on the screen, very simple. So I press enter, and there's the command that I entered, the hour offset. So now if I do the all test call, it's going to show us that it has been overridden from 10:29 to 11:29. And if I do that SQL little display command, like current date, current time, date's the same, but time is now moved forward. Okay,
so lunchtime, Mike.
All right. No wonder I'm hungry.
Let's go.
All right. Have a good day.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then we can delete it with the DLT date override command, delete date override. Boom, and it's gone. Like I said, I could have signed off, but I didn't want to do that. So now if I go back and do the display, it's no longer lunchtime. Oh, man. So now we got to wait again. And, and if we do our little call all tests again, now we're back to the original time, showing 10:29. So it's that simple, that real easy to use. One more thing I want to show is just the static override of the date. Not static. I hate to use that term, but Oops, did the wrong override there. So let's go to 1948. Why? I don't know. Let's just go to January 1 for that. And I want to change this back to star none, like that. And now I'm changing it to January 1. And you can see right here that it says it's been overridden, but I can do my little call all tests, and the system does show the current date now is 1948. And if I do my little display, the system now thinks that the year is January 1, 1948. We're sneaky.
We've gotten old.
So.
Yeah.
And that's really all there is to it. Again, if I bring, I can delete the override, I can log off, I can make it, go away. So you can set up a little CL program, have your users from different time zones access it. There's different ways you can do it, but it's a nice, simple little program that really has a lot of power and a lot of uses. Who can use this? Well, banks, insurance companies, remote users like we were talking about, people who need to test your software. If you need to test the software before you put it into production, you want to test your month-end, you want to test your year-end processes, you can put it on a test box and do all your testing without changing the real system date, because that's a whole IPL process, a whole other thing that goes on in a case like that. You don't really need to use that. You want to just be able to change it. How about we go into the future one time, just because I like it. Let's go into 2020. Why? I don't know. I just want to try 2020. There's that TV show, right? 2020. So now the system thinks, based on our all test, is 2020. And if I go back to my display, the system's going to say, yep, it's January 1 of 1920. So we've jumped into the future, and we can jump into the past. It's a nice little Back to the Future kind of a concept, that movie, and it's a really cool little tool. That pretty much wraps up the simple Anydate display.
Great. Yeah, it's kind of nice. We went ahead there. It was actually for a Monday, I noticed. So 2020, January 1st is a Monday, folks.
Oh, it's a Monday. Okay.
Just because you need to know that, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, for our last product here, we will show you how EasyView actually helps you or a programmer or administrator display and change file information quickly and easily. I'm pretty sure, at one time or another here, several of us, or maybe all of us, have gone through the pain of either trying to create multiple lowest pointer queries or use some built-in database editing feature or application of the operating system, to search for and to find records, or possibly having to write programs or complex SQL commands to accomplish, data updates or data corrections. Well, with EasyView, it's going to make your life that much easier. Not only will you find it easy to actually locate and replace data through the scan and replace, it also has 10 different display modes, from a spreadsheet like, maybe one page per record, look at the records via hex, hex values of them, field names, descriptions, and so forth. View journal receiver entries in an easy-to-read format. Use this to test your update programs. Research a program or any other types of updates out there. Select records to duplicate or to copy and paste field data. Display only the fields requiring research or input. Are there two fields? One at the beginning of a record and one at the end. What's really nice about this, we can take those two different fields and actually pull them together within a data model. Easily display field descriptions and database relationships with 2 keystrokes. And then through an audit trail, we can actually track the changes within EasyView, even if the file is not being journaled. You'll find several different benefits with EasyView. You can actually easily export to a CSV file or Excel file based on your view or selection criteria. You can set up individual security or set up a role-based scheme based on another user. Export reports about your files, and from menus or command line or job, the EasyScan command could be placed into a robot batch job to regularly clean the data. EasyView is going to give you a very structured, very secure environment for verifying, researching, and repairing your IBM I or DB2 400 data. EasyView really supports just about any type of data out there. You will be able to view, change, and work with your data. Even non-displayable characters can be easily modified just by tweaking their hex value. Press of a function key allows you to select a display mode, choose to display field names or descriptions of your records. It's simply just as pressing F11. This will allow you to toggle through. You could be looking at the field text or names, the hex values, and so forth. One of my favorite options is the ability to display file and actually see the actual relative record number. Why would this be helpful? Well, for example, you have a date field, and I've seen it so many times. For some reason or another, a record or two has some invalid dates stored within it. Maybe someone entered in blanks or just had a typo, so when they're actually entered in there initially. So when you try to run an application or some type of query tool, you may get a data mapping error. And in most cases, those data mapping errors will post a relative record number. Well, with EasyView, you can actually simply and quickly find that record number or that record itself there and then correct it. Mike will also show us a really nice feature here too, but it's a very quick and easy way to create a data model with just a few simple clicks. You can actually select the fields that you want in those records basically with a V, and then all of a sudden what it does, it actually brings up this next slide here where it actually will show you all this information pulled together. You've created a new view of your file, or you can say really records of your file, which are known as a data model or a test file. It contains only the fields you want. It's easy and very quick to create a view of the data for future use for testing. Another great feature is to be able to select what and how you want that information to be displayed. We have a lot of different options out here, and some of the options or services that you can do is actually look at the family tree. Or maybe you want to find out what the locks are on the file. Or maybe take the information and export it right to a delimited text file. Again, you can pick and choose what you want. EasyView can also retrieve the file field definitions, or like also people call it the DDS. With a press of a button, you can see what the fields, the field types, and names look like. And just this past week, I was actually at the Northeast User Group Conference in the Boston area, and actually one of our customers approached our Help Systems booth, and they currently own EasyView and along with a couple of other products. But it was really interesting listening to them because they actually use EasyView a lot, and they use the journaling feature of it. They mentioned how easy it is to actually review or to view and to analyze these journal entries to make sure things are actually updating the files as they expect to and so forth. So what's really nice here is that this IBM iJournaling that is built into the feature of the operating system, they all seem to use and love. But the native journal receivers, journal stuff, those entries are hard to read. You can't easily analyze it. Well, with EasyView, we actually help you with formatting the information into fields as defined by the DDS, allowing you to search by the field values. So what you'll find is that EasyView will help you view the time, date, and programs that cause the errors so you can easily find and correct those issues. Test your update programs by journaling your test files. Then use EasyJournal to see the before and after images of the records that you changed. Scan your journal entries. For the record that was changed, you can see the workstation, date, and time of the access in the journal entry. What user tried to access that particular object. Maybe they're not authorized. You got an error in there. Build data models so that future testing and investigation is easy. For our last demonstration today here, Michael will actually show us how EasyView can aid in the update and the debugging of your files. EasyView is, it's a tool that will help you maintain your files.
Yes, let's take a look at it. I like to go into the products via the menu when we're showing it to folks. Again, as you get more comfortable, you can go into the commands a little more directly. But I went into the robot menu, and then option 17 is for Easy View. Okay, now I'm on the Easy View menu. Well, what can we do on the Easy View menu? Well, a lot of different things, working with the database file. We can look at file relationships. We'll look at some of this stuff as we're going forward. So we can kind of move around and see what's out here. I'm going to start off, though, by going into option 8, which is a little setup area. And what can we do in the setup area? Well, we can change some of the system defaults or user preferences. That's always useful. Anytime you kind of tweak your environment, whether it's SQL or whether it's Abstract or one of the other products, a nice, easy way to actually control and keep that nice and neat. You can purge your data, that kind of thing, and you can also, get into other Easy View commands. First I'm going to do here is option number 1, and go into the preferences. Okay, what can you do in here? Well, I'm looking at all the different users. I'm going to pick on Heath since you're on the first screen. Heath, thank you.
Guilty.
There you are. Okay, well, what can we do on here? Well, I'm going to put a 2 to change profile, option number 2. And what can we do in here? Well, we can control the how many records to scan before it gets interrupted. Something like that. We can control how much they can do that. Their default output queue, that one's always quite useful. How about listen down here? Do they have the ability to change the record in the file? How about delete the records? They have that option. Okay, and then do you give them a command line? That one's always powerful. So whether or not you give them that ability is it's actually pretty cool. So I'm just going to go back a couple of menus here. Go back to the main Easy View menu. Here we go. Now I want to go into start off with the displaying relationships. All right, so I'm going to go into menu option number 3. And what am I going to look at? Good friend Customast, and we'll look at it in SQL EX. And what is this going to show us? Well, it shows us the logicals, the access path information that's available to you in the family tree. You've got the physical, we've got the logical. That's shown out here for the SQL EX in the customer master, so you can see where you need to go if you need to look for that information. What else can we look at from Easy View? Well, let's go to number 1 here, the database file. Okay, I'm going to go into number 1. What should I do here? Oh, let's use the same file. Customast. SQL EX. Okay, I'm going to press enter. I'm going to press enter again, just leaving the defaults. Now it's building the information. So now we're actually looking into the file. We can see at the top the information about the file that we were looking at it, arrival sequence, going in right now via inquiry, and there's the information, what we're looking at. And then again, down at the bottom is the data, the customer number, information, all down in here. So now we have the top and the bottom. First thing I want to do here is I'm going to go to a setup command, set defaults. I want to change this to no, this first one, because I want to look for something later on, and I want to do it in not all uppercase. But you can change some of your other settings. Press enter to accept that. Okay, we have command 4. Heath mentioned this through the PowerPoint. You have a different display modes that you can go into. You can look at it in text. Spreadsheet mode in text and field names, that kind of thing. Easy View field, hex. A lot of times hex is about the only way you can look at some of these fields, the way they're stored on the system. So you have those options. So it's easy to go in and look for it. Now, what else can we do here? Well, we have these options down here, these lines. So what can we do there? Well, I'm going to put a question mark out here on the line. It's going to show us what's available. Again, you don't have to. I could have went right into the option, but we can see that we have all these different options available for change, delete, replicate, etc. I'll show you some of these as we go forward. Now, so we can see that we have these options available for us. Now, let's go ahead and change something. So you can see I'm on this record here, PCE Corp, customer 100-500. I'm going to choose option C. Now I'm into the change mode. If you look up the top, you can see it's been changed. All right, and I can make a change. And I have available to me command 4 to change my view. So let's go ahead and change this guy. I like to put a couple of 9s here at the end, 599 instead of 500. Okay, go ahead and press enter. It asks me if I want to, ensure that I want to change it. Now that record's been changed. I do want to change it back though because other people use this database, and I don't want to mess anybody up. Okay.
Good idea.
Yeah. I've done that once or twice, but now I've changed it back. So now you can see how easy I can change the data. What else? Scanning. Scanning's kind of a neat feature up here. So nice, easy way to scan. Let's say I wanted to look for any customer name who has Corp in the title. Okay. Well, you have a test up here, so I'm going to put the field name up here, and then I have a test field up here. So I'm going to come up here, and what do I have in the test field? Well, I can come in here and hit F1. Didn't hit F1 there. Sorry. And that's going to show me what I have available. The standard, equal to, not equal to, less than, greater than, etc. All the different, decimal errors, contains, etc. Contains is what I'm going to use in this particular example. So I'm going to look for the customer name field, which is CNAME, where it contains the word Corp, C-O-R-P. Okay, I'm going to press F7 to scan it, and there's my scan for that. And I can hit F7 to get to the next record and continue on down the line. Well, I have other keys and functions available to me down at the bottom. You can see I can add a record, I can go to the field list, I can do a lot of different things. I want to choose command number 14, expanded scan, because I want to change this setting up here from next. I want to look at all. So I change it to all. Okay, now when I hit F7, now I'm looking at all of them that are out here. So now I'm looking at all of the customers, the CNAME fields that have Corp into it. Okay, so that's a nice, easy way to do. Now, let's look at another function here. I'm going to put the question mark here again. And some of the other functions we can do, we can see we have an X to right image. So let's go ahead and see what that does. I'm going to put X's for the first, let's say, 6 records here. Okay, and I'm going to press enter. What does X do? It's going to copy this into another file. I'm going to create a file. I'm going to call it MS Demo F2. I'll use your library, Heath. And I'm going to tell it to create. Okay, so I have the option to clear. I can have the option to add. I'm just going to tell it to create here because MS Demo F2 doesn't exist. Now, it flashed at me, but how do I know it did anything? Well, I can come up to my top where it's looking at what file and change the look on this, Demo F2, change the library. Now it's retrieving that data, and there are the 6 records that I put out there. And again, what other options do I have here? If I put a question mark, I can see I have a replicate, an R. So I'm going to just use that first record here and replicate it. Let's put 6 9s out here. And just to kind of keep it different, I want to put a 9 out over here just so we know that it is a copy. Okay, press enter. Gives me a little, I call it a warning, but it's not really a warning. It's saying, sure you want to do this kind of a thing. And now I have 7 records. You can see I've added the new one down here at the bottom. So it's a nice, easy way to create a work file without interrupting or without bothering the real production file or the real file that's in use. It's a quick and easy way to create your data, make replications, make additional copies, and you can easily toggle. I'm hitting F10 now to different views and different looks of the data, whether I'm going to hex or one of the other formats. Again, this was I call it the traditional or the original way to look at the data. And that's a quick and high-level view of EasyView. We're running a little bit out of time here, so if you want to see more, just you can always schedule a demo with one of us.
Perfect. All right. Well, before we kind of wrap things up here, folks, and get to the questions and all that, I first want to say we both appreciate your time, your interest in our products here today. Kind of like what Mike said there, keep in mind, we've only scratched the surface and shown you some of the capabilities. These products are intended for you to demo, so talk to your sales reps and install our 30-day free evaluation copy onto your system. But what you'll find here is that with these products, they are easy to use. They are easy to learn. and they will help you become that much more efficient. Mike went through here and shared with us how abstract can show the relationship between objects, flowcharts, showing the relationships graphically, help you analyze the file definitions and streamline your development environment. And abstract can automatically build cross-reference files to get you the information you need for your software development projects. And then we have Anydate. You'll be able to actually run the jobs when you need to run them, but at the same time, those jobs can actually run with the correct date and time as needed without impacting other users or jobs. And then with EasyView, it's a very powerful but yet very simple tool to use. EasyView will actually increase your productivity because you don't have to write programs to update or to correct your data or to create test data. Works exclusively with IBM i DB2 data in a structured, secure environment with such things as record change validation. And it actually works in conjunction with your journal receiver content. So with these three tools here, your programmers will be able to maintain programs, files, and jobs with efficiency and reliability. All right, folks, we are here towards the end here. If you happen to have any questions, please send those questions to all panelists using the chat window there on the right-hand pane or up above there. And Mike actually and I will go through those questions here, see if we can help you out that way. All right, Mike, what do we see out there, sir?
I'm seeing a couple out here. There's one referring to the cost. You really need to talk with a sales rep on that for cost. We can get you in touch with your sales rep. That was from Connie. We'll have to see who our sales rep is and have that information sent to her as well.
Perfect, yeah.
Steve has a question here. I'm actually looking at it. It says we are completely modernized with no DDS for the database, DDL only, no logicals, only DB2 views and objects, no native read writes, only embedded SQL. Many run SQL STM members being executed. How does abstract or EasyView handle that? Well, I know from an abstract does track your embedded SQL. It does allow you to see your embedded SQL and grabs the definition from your programs. So it is quite extensive. Now, does it grab everything? I believe it does. I haven't seen anything. Now, there's always things. I'm not a programmer, but there's a lot of things out there that, and if I can use it, then I'm not a programmer. It's easy to use. But there's always stuff that's coming up, that customers are trying. And if we do encounter something, we're almost always ahead of it as well. New features, new versions, that kind of stuff. So we usually can handle that pretty well. So abstract handles the embedded SQL and the definitions quite well.
Excellent. I see a simple question out there regarding, will Anydate work with V601 and 7.1?
Yes, it does. Yeah, it actually works really well. The machine we were using in this demo was a V504. It was an older version, but it does work well on 6.1. You just need to get the version that we have available on the website is the 6.1. That's really the only version that we really support. Again, I was using an old version. We do have it available, but with IBM dropping 5.4 eventually, if not soon or already, it keeps changing.
Yeah, anyway,
okay.
Yeah.
You know how IBM is.
Yep.
That'll go away. But it does work with 6.1 and 7.1. I've used it quite extensively.
Perfect. I do see another one here for Anydate. Can I actually override date and times from within a job that's being submitted?
Yes, absolutely. There was that setting that was in there on the override over sysdate command, whether you allow that or not. So if that's set to yes, then any submitted job downstream will be overridden as well, as opposed to you could change that to no and not do it. There are times when you don't want to do it. So we give you the option to whether or not you want to override that at that level.
Excellent. All right. I am not seeing anything else on my end here. Do you see any further questions sent to you there, Mike?
Nope. That's all I'm seeing too.
Great. We'll go ahead and wrap things up here then.
Excellent.
All right. Well, Mike, thank you for your live demonstration today. Appreciate all your help. And, of course, we really do appreciate everyone else, too, spend their time here today listening to us. Folks, we do hope that you now have a good idea, some good tips and a good feel how abstract, easy view, and Anydate can be a very important key to your success, in developing, maintaining, and testing applications, files, and managing users even across your different time zones. If you do happen to have any further questions or would like to see a closer look at these products, please give us a call. Don't hesitate. Mike and I will be glad to jump on your system there to work with you, get these products installed, and see what we can do with you and your team. We do appreciate your time and looking forward to see you guys in future webinars. This does conclude our session today on top tips to increase programmers' productivity. Thanks and have a great day.